We are fortunate to have Mobile's Chief of Police on with us tonight, Chief Battiste. Chief, we had a question from Bob here. Bob wants to know, is there a culture that exists in Mobile city government that needs to be changed? Any kind of structural change that you believe should be changed here locally?
And that's kind of a loaded question, because every 4 years we potentially undergo some type of change depending on who's voted in office and who's voted out of office. And so departments and the city goes through some type of a change. And so from my perspective, I think that I've said this at graduation speeches with officers a number of times, that as we try to improve who we are as an organization, we have seen things evolve in the United States and in law enforcement that has required us to evolve as an agency to become better in how do we do things differently and adapt to the changing times that we're policing in. And so from that perspective, I would say then, yeah, we need to continue to look at how the world is evolving, the things that we're required or asked to police, to take police action in and evolve to be able to adapt to those things that we're dealing with. As it relates to internally structural with guidance, I think that the current administration tries to make sure that they're at least lend an ear to what's happening in the community, so that we can make sure that we are somewhat in tune. And I think when you deal with a community as large as Mobile, you have to take into consideration that you're not going to please all of the people all of the time. You have to be prepared for some disappointment for some people, but the same people should always be the ones that are disappointed.
Yeah, and Chief, I'm curious, I'd like to get your take on this, because just this weekend you've got the Minneapolis City Council saying they're going to dismantle the police department there. They're not quite sure what that looks like. I've heard interviews with the mayor of Minneapolis saying, he wants this big structural change with the police department. He's clashed with the police union, with the contract with them. I'm just curious your take about the news coming out of Minneapolis, and they're wanting this big change to dismantle the police department. What do you think about that?
Defund.
So when I read that, I was like, wow. A world without some type of public safety, I can't imagine one existing. Since I've been alive, and there's always been the police or somebody to help provide some type of public safety in our community. And so as I think about the dismantling of law enforcement, I think that in particular, the communities that will suffer the most will be those communities with the lower economic structure. I think because there's no one there to help provide guidance in those areas, and the fact that the economy sometimes drives criminality in our community. I think that if you dismantle public safety, you dismantle law enforcement, I think you are basically, in my mind, would be sentencing a community to death.
Yeah. We have just seconds left in the show. I can't get to Betty's question here, but I do want to read her thought. Betty from Mobile says to Chief Battiste, thank you for your leadership in Mobile. So I wanted to pass along her compliments. Chief, thank you so much for being on tonight. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the work that you and everyone at the department is doing for us. Thank you so much.